Welcome everyone who's joining online. Sorry we had a late start to the agenda today. We had some technical difficulties. And if you want to know how I fixed those technical issues, basically I'm trying to live stream from a Mac for the first time. And Mac doesn't integrate with desktop audio with the streaming software that I'm using. So I ended up piping out Luke's, who's joined us. He's on my Bluetooth speaker. So I've got like this little. Here's my microphone and my speaker, and hopefully, you can pick up on some of his audio. So hi, Luke.
Hey everyone, hi Sam.
Thank you for joining us today. Would you like to kick off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure, yeah. So my name is Luke. I'm based in Wellington, New Zealand. I have been a tester, I think officially. When I say officially, probably since I got the title of a tester, probably I think 6 or 7 years. Before that, I was more working on production support environment, so looking after servers, database, customer issues, which is, as we know nowadays, is production issues. Yeah, so that's where I kind of gained some experience about testing. Since then, I started getting involved more in the project of testing. So from there, I'm learning like a lot about testing, and I felt that there's a lot more to learn.
What was the most recent thing you've learned?
Well, most recent thing I learned, it's actually like if we say about testing is something, I guess, in the probably last a few months. Like I've been learning about automations to help testing. Something I learned, like someone mentioned about there's more than one way to build the models, like apart from page object. Before that, I thought that was the only way to do it.
So what have been some of the other ways, some of the other architecture you can use?
Yeah, so some other ways I think like what they say, like more of like I learned from a developer, a more of like a with action based,
Okay.
not based on each page, but more of like a in general, like okay, what's this action about? It's about input, or that's a button, or that's verify output. So that's not limited to one page, like limited to the page object, but you can use across. Yeah, so that's something I kind of like, oh, yeah, I can see that how that works as well.
Cool. Um, so for anyone who's joining online, I'm putting together a little mind map of our conversation, and we'll be keeping an eye on any questions in the Twitch chat if you want to throw any of them Luke's way. What do you think is involved with a quality coach role? What is quality
Well,
coaching?
yeah, with quality coach, that's like something I'm aspired or inspired to become. I guess like a few years ago when I saw someone like hold that, I guess role. Then when I started to like, oh, what does that role do? Like what does a I think before there was like a test coach. That's where I kind of think okay, I want to become a test coach. But as I learn more and more about the roles and what's possible, I think yeah, quality coach. I think that looks like what's the market demand, and that's kind of attract me because I think that's kind of looking another level up instead of testing. I think it used to be like when I look at testing, I might miss something through the whole SDLC process. I might just look at the testing in isolation. Where when I start looking at quality, I think okay, that's more of like a in a bigger picture, like whole process approach. Look at like not only like what we can do in testing, but also look at I guess with the popular terms like shift left or shift right, and it's like I'm not limited by the test, uh, the function itself. I'm focused on the quality. So I might do a test. I might just do a exploration, or maybe just asking some questions, or maybe I'm just doing some monitoring. But as long as I'm focused on the quality, then I don't think that's have so much limit compared to what is test coach or what is quality coach. That's just my understanding.
Cool. So, maybe briefly describe what your average day, or in the office or working from home looks like.
Well, I recently started a new role, so that's about a few weeks. So I guess a lot of my time is learning like about the domain or what's the team does, as well as the way I guess the way the team is working of the process, like how I can help the team. The other time, what I do is just while I'm observing how the team currently doing the work, I'm just thinking, okay, is there something similar problem I have experienced in the past, or maybe something's new, like but it's similar, similar to the problem maybe I heard or I experienced. Then just from there, thinking of what can we do, maybe improve that. So more on the like what improvement can I introduce?
Hmm.
Yeah. Apart from that, I guess like, at the moment a lot of learnings. I yeah,
Do you
it's quite
have,
interesting.
well, I mean, like with starting on a new team, do you have any tips for trying to learn as quickly as possible?
Yeah, I think just like a start going to talk to as many people as possible, like maybe within your team, maybe outside your team. I think anyone you talk to, prepare your questions, like have a goal, like maybe say, today I want to learn about this particular part of the business process. Then you can talk to the first person, ask them a question. Maybe they can say, oh, okay, that's how it works. Then what's involved? Maybe they will say, okay, the question you ask, I'm not the best person to ask, but here's the other person you can ask. I think just go from there, and normally you can find the answer you need.
Mm-hmm. And can you notice any patterns in the new team for things you've observed in previous teams that you might want to try and implement from a quality point of view?
Yeah, I guess like that's something I've been trying to do is kind of like with the mindset of like what tester do or what quality assurance analyst or quality engineering do. So kind of like I'm still exploring that, but the way I want to help the team to do is like okay, yeah, maybe I'm seen as the specialist in quality, but I'm not the owner. Actually, that's the whole team owns it. Maybe I just have that quality within my role, but I guess I see myself more as a facilitator, like to say, okay, let's facilitate. Here's the product we're going to build, and how can we approach? I guess what I want to try to bring in is look at the risks. Okay, what's the risks when we deliver this product from two different levels? One's on the business level. When I say business level, is like at the end-to-end business process. When somewhere breaks, what does that mean to the customers, and what does that mean to the company? So I guess look from there, assess the risks. Then we can say, can we test this? Can we automate this? Can we monitor this? Can we prevent that's actually happening from the early stage, like maybe I don't know, like have a three amigo sessions, like bring the BAs, developers, testers all together and talk about this, how we're going to build and what's the possible failure scenarios. Then how can we prevent that while the developers are building that? So more of from that point of view. The, the other, I guess, aspect is more on the technical risk areas. More of like when I say technical risk areas, more related to the technology. I guess the approach, the familiarity, the developers working with this new technology, or maybe with the uh, product we built. there might be certain technical risks with at the time. Same again, then we identify those risks, then prioritize them by the severity, the impact, and just I guess look out the recommendations. What can we do? Can we test those, or can we actually build to prevent that happen? Or we can't really do much until we deploy into production, but we're going to monitor something happens, and we know that's when it's needed attention.
Have you previously worked in a team when a developer had maybe the mindset of, testing's not my responsibility or it's someone else's job?
Yeah, I think in my early days, that's where I can say when trying to talk to the developers, they just say basically, okay, I finished. Here you go, deployed, then you test. Then when you come back to them, to say something, maybe say, okay, let's maybe before you deploy, maybe let's test together, then or maybe can you run those basic checks before you deploy to production. They will not ask you to test, but at least make sure there's a button when you click on it that's actually working, or maybe the basic function, like at least the happy path scenario works. But in the past, I guess for some reasons, maybe like with the environment setup, or maybe I guess the way how the developers been working in the past, some of them may come back and say, well, that's not my job to test. That's why we need a tester. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And have there been challenges with trying to overcome that mindset with other developers?
Yeah, I guess that. That's actually I think it's interesting because um, that's kind of like you got to I guess gain their trust first. When they trust what you say and what you're trying to get them to do, it's not actually extra. It's actually going to help them and help the team. I guess by what I did just by demonstrate cool. So if you don't want to test, that's fine. I'll test. But say the consequence might be if you do those basic checks. Now I don't need to log the bugs. It doesn't cost me um, extra time to log those bugs as well. Make sure you understand the basically following that um, the defect life cycle process. You got to send someone to prioritize what's need to be fixed. When it's come back, it may take really long time. By the time it's come back, then developer may already start working on something else. Then it's either they need to content switching or either it's waiting for too long. They might already forgot what they did with that area. To show them okay, so that's actually simple enough. If we maybe pair it together, either maybe before you start or maybe after you finish, maybe while you demo them, we just look at it together. If that sounds, we can actually start to explore the other problems other than just the basic. That may save a lot of the time. Just once you deploy it, then it's also cost your time to deploy for the back refix. And I say that's actually quite an interesting experience to have to go through. Like sometimes working together with the developer, eventually they kind of say the value, agree. So yeah, I think I can do some of that. Yeah.
If someone's reluctant to try pairing, what are some things that can help overcome that mindset?
Well, I guess first, just my personal experience, I felt like some developers they really need that focus time when they work on something. So I guess do respect that time. Just make sure you work together with them, to say, can we schedule a time which is, it's convenient for you, convenient for, for me as well. So we can together work on something. It's not like I'm going to constantly interrupting you, trying to pair with you. So I guess that's from uh, that a timing schedule point of view. Second, I guess more for on interpersonal level. It's make sure you respect each other. You know, So don't just like we can say, okay, I'm just here to say what you did wrong. So that's not the attitude that we want to have. More of like hey, here's something we all want to deliver, right? We want to
Mm.
build something that makes customers happy, make us happy, make us proud. So we work as a team. So how can we do that better? Just I guess more of like as a station, not like as a talent. Say, okay, cool. So we have to pair, and then you did this wrong. You have to change it.
Mm.
Yeah.
One of the shortfalls I've observed in that quality coaching type of role that if the focus is trying to help the team be better testers, you don't have as much time for yourself to do some really in-depth exploratory testing. And so a common question that comes up are like, what are the shortfalls with a quality coaching model? And do you
Hmm.
have any comments along?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I guess for me again, I haven't worked officially as a quality coach, but that's something I'm that's what I'm trying to get to. I guess the way how I say that, as a quality coach, maybe like my responsibility is not actually testing the software itself, like how I would be like if I'm a tester. I guess my responsibility is more of like help others how they can test it better, like whether it's developer, whether it's going to be a user, BA tester,
Mm.
when it comes, just to help them to say, hey, have you considered about this and have you tried about that? Yeah,
Mm.
so more of like I say a supporting role instead of compared to I guess like an individual contributor.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the shortfalls of approaching this type of model is that you have less time to do more in-depth testing because you're trying to help other people be better testers themselves.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's more of I guess how I say that it's become more focused on the process and yeah, more of like a process improvement
Yeah.
instead of yeah.
But how do you go about keeping your testing skills up to date so that you can help other people be better testers?
Yeah, that's really a good question. I would like if I ever become an official role with a quality coach, I wouldn't I wouldn't like that to be like 100% of what I do. I really like the idea where okay, cool, maybe here's like in this sprint where people may need a lot of help, like especially when the teams we're working together, maybe spend a lot of time there. Once people upskilling, they need less of your time to help them to get up speed. Now, I would like to scale that back to actually keep in the field to to work with the application itself day to day as well as the technology itself. So I say that yeah, more of it just depend on the timing of the project and the maturity of the team. Yeah,
Do you have a favorite project you've worked on before?
that's yeah something like I like is about replacing the older systems with new technologies. Um, the reason why I like that project was because that's actually the time when people to actually look at what the old system does. Sometimes some interesting fact come out is do we really need this? Who's using this? Sometimes it's surprisingly come out as that it might be useful at the time, but as time goes on with other, I guess, integrated application, this become a kind of obsolete, may no longer be used, but it's just there as the part of the process. So working that kind of project, I guess everyone's not only building something new with new technology, but as well as actually improving the business process just as a part of the project. It's yeah,
Okay,
which is
cool.
I love that yeah this kind of project.
Because there's, I guess, a certain element of if you're replacing something old with something newer, well, you already know the software works. It already helps achieve a business outcome or, helps people solve problems. And I guess
Yeah.
sometimes there's scope to explore the business situation a bit more, so you can, or you don't have to imagine what your users are doing, because you can actually ask them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Anyway, how long have you lived in New Zealand for?
Well, I'm almost here like, for about 20 years. Now it's like 19 years.
What appealed about New Zealand?
Well, it's actually like a bit before I moved to New Zealand, I know very little about New Zealand. It's
Yeah.
like the only thing I know is okay. Yeah, New Zealand they speak English as well, so I come to study English.
Yeah, I guess like 20 years ago, it was before Lord of the Rings as well. So,
Yeah.
so there was, literally, nothing else really being published about New Zealand at the time.
No, that's right. It's like after I came here, it's like actually, oh, it's actually quite beautiful. Yeah, I would like to stay a few more years to experience the country, experience the culture, like the people. And I guess as time goes on, so it keeps going.
Have you worked in some interesting projects in that time?
Well, yeah, I worked for a few different organizations. Like I guess one experience I had was the startup. So that's really interesting because I guess that's where when I work for a startup, I think that's quite a different, I say quite a different mindset and quite a different uh, team culture or energy level, like what people focus on. Yeah, the thing I find it's interesting is like yeah, it's just like people all working together. It's like I never have the experience where like people saying, oh, that's not my role. Like, you test this. It's more of like okay, something something is wrong or something needs to be done.
Mm.
How can we do it? It's always working as a team. It's really fast moving.
Yeah, that's the thing with startup culture is that you're often wearing many hats,
Yeah.
and you're just trying to help the business any way to function. And there's
Yeah.
always more work than you've ever got time in the day to do, right? There's never
Yeah,
enough
that's right. Yeah.
resources.
Yeah.
Though I think working in a startup does come with some of its own risks as well.
Yeah.
Because startups are still trying to figure out how and if they can make money. Uh,
Yeah.
I've worked for a startup myself and was made redundant after 6 months because testers are expensive.
Oh yeah.
And when business dollars dry up a little bit, and you're looking at how you can cut the budget, developers are slightly more important in terms of the whole project scope.
Yeah.
But anyway, it
Yeah.
was a really fun experience.
Yeah. That's actually quite interesting. I guess like that's how I it's felt really strongly in the last year. Like because of COVID, lots of people have been cut. Like lots of friends like they been in the testing space. I guess I agree with you. Like with that notion, people often look at it. Like, okay, yeah, we need to cut the budget. Where can we cut? And they look around. Oh, tester. Yeah, everyone can test. Let's just remove the tester. Uh, yeah, it's like I honestly, I don't see how that goes like in a long term. I think yeah, everyone can test, but tester was created and exists for a reason. It's not like it's like how I say that you need like a special not special like it's more of like a certain mindset and a certain skill set to be a good tester. I yeah, it's just like I found this really interesting when once it come to cut on the budget, the tester always surfaced up. I guess like it's probably what we produce and what we do is not that visible. Whereas developers, well, they create stuff. You
Hmm.
can say there's nothing. no, you have something. What do testers do?
Budget and perceptions of testing. This
Yeah,
idea in the business that everyone can test.
yeah. It's really interesting. I think in the past I said, like, oh, not everyone can test. But when I think more, I say, yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. Like if you say test, I guess like when we say test is what does that mean? First, we need to agree. We probably mean different things. And I sort of agree. Like everyone can test, but you need good testing.
Yeah,
So
that's the idea. We all do testing on our day-to-day basis. Every time we use the bank application or we log into Facebook, we're indirectly doing a bit of testing for all of these companies out there. And we're
yeah,
probably involved with some sort of experiment at some stage. But just because everyone can test doesn't mean everyone knows how to talk about testing. So a lot of people can't really explain why they wanted to do something
mm,
or why something's wrong.
mm. Yeah. That's actually I think like that's you highlighted something really important like, about the why. I guess like we all can test like because people say, oh, everyone can test. Probably say, how hard can that be? Like just click around and do something randomly. But I think that might be looks like the way how testers doing. But I guess what you don't say is what's going on in the tester's mind.
Mm.
You know, I guess like something you click, then they have like they probably have this like a complex decision making. Like okay, do I click this now or later, or um, do I click like by in this order or that order? Like
Mm.
with this combination, they probably thinking a lot. I guess a lot more than that. Like also something seems random. That's because maybe they haven't say the goal in testers' head yet.
Yeah.
But when they do something, well, at least I know when I do something. I know there's something I want to find out.
Mm.
Either like something I don't have answer or something I think I I think there's a claim. I just want to make sure that claim stays true or not. Um, yeah.
Do you have an example of say we were talking about a username and password field, and do you have a claim from previous experience that you'd might want to, or a heuristic? I might be going a bit too off the deep end. Um, I haven't
Yeah,
structured this question well.
yeah, that's right. Like no, it's for the username and the password. I guess like say like if we explore um, that statement, just say everyone can test. I mean, yeah, of course everyone can test. If everyone do log in with username and password at some point of time, right?
Mm.
You either log into your Facebook, your email, or wherever, like or Windows, right? But there's like can be lots of things to test depending on the, I guess the application we're talking about. Is it like just Facebook, or is it actually a banking login using my email and with my username and password? So that's going to be different. So I guess that's the first thing. For example, the tester will think about the context to say, what I'm testing, what's this username and password used for. From there, like maybe I guess from there, different approach or schedule or heuristics might be coming to mind to say, okay, which one I need to use. But what I think is to come back to the risk again. To say, well, it's just Facebook. They hack my Facebook. Well, they just took all my um, privacy stuff. Yeah, it's bad. But compared to the bank, what they took my username and password, they start withdrawing my money. That's quite a different, I guess, risk level than something you want to test. Is probably going to be quite different as well.
Have you ever had your identity stolen or compromised?
Not I'm aware of.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm trying to set up like a first it's really complex password, which is I can't often remember. I have to reset my password from time to time.
Yeah, sometimes, password rules are so complex that the only way you log in is by resetting the password every time. And then, how secure is that really?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I guess the way how they reset. Sometimes they send you a link. Sometimes they, yeah.
Yeah, and email is not the most secure platform for sharing private information anyway.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Um, I guess if I'm managing my own password, I tend to use a bit of an algorithm. So, say the website is Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and so I might take some letters from the word Facebook, maybe the last four letters or the last, so it's a part of the string. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's bookface. And so then my password might be like test all in capitals, bookface, and then a string of numbers and letters that I might use for like every single password. So technically, every website, as long as it's got uh, a unique website name, will generally have a unique password, but I can still remember every single password.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I think that's a really good approach. I'm trying to follow some kind of pattern, but yeah, because there's lots of different account I use. Sometimes I just lost that pattern myself. And so, okay, just generate some password. Yeah, I do use a LastPass now a lot.
Mm.
One funny story I had is like I set a really strong password for my LastPass, which I forgot that password. At very early days when I first started, I never thought about that. I probably should write it down.
Yeah. Passwords are a terrible form of security because it's not because they themselves are bad. It's just that people have terrible memories,
That's very, yeah,
and if you're relying on human memory, then there's some issues in the process.
yeah, that's right. Look, I think every time I set up the password, say, yeah, that's a really nice pattern. Like, either I use a phrase or either like, all those different password strategies. I'm going to remember this one. It's then maybe the next day I thought, which one did I use? Oh, I just reset it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think at the moment I just let Chrome try to remember all of my passwords.
Yeah, same. I use Chrome or LastPass. I just yeah, please remember the password for me,
Yeah.
or just
Um,
remember one password.
Sometimes it's a bit of a challenge being a mobile tester, and I'm using five different devices or something, and I haven't logged into Google on all of them, and so and sometimes you're working on a corporate system, and they require really long passwords, and so trying to enter a really long password on this little device. You get fat fingers, you mistype something, and then you have to write your 20 characters again on the tiny screen.
Yeah, see, that's like that can be what you mentioned here is can be like a really good, I guess, test idea when we test like username and password, across different different system and yeah.
Yeah, that cross
Yeah.
platform testing for things like fields can be interesting, especially if there's like something like cloud syncing involved.
Mm,
If you're testing an application that's meant to sync across, Android, iOS, desktop, and everything cloud, then I feel like the potential for exploratory testing does get just increases the scope or the creativity at some point.
yeah, yeah, that's right. That's like I guess that's one thing I love about the testing as well. I guess in IT in general, it's just like there's always things going to be different and so new.
Mm.
We might talk about something this year, then next year we can't even imagine like what might come out. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, how they've been utilized.
cool.
Um,
How do you keep a creative mindset when testing?
well, that's really, yeah. I've been thinking like so, along the same line, like how do you keep like a creative thinking? How do you keep like a critical thinking? I guess with that, um, something I use often I think just don't trying to do um, all the things in one long session. Do remember to take break to do something different. Like maybe say if you do a focused testing session, maybe say 60 minutes or 90 minutes, and then okay, let's just go talk to someone, or maybe just do a game like for 10 minutes. And sometimes I'll maybe just go for a walk and come back and say, there's something I missed, or maybe something I haven't really explored too much. To give you some new ideas, or maybe just by talking to another tester or developer to say, hey, I'm testing this. This is what I did. Just talk about it. Sometimes maybe idea flow to your mind is naturally. Sometimes maybe someone else might be pointing out a really important area you actually been overlooking the whole time because you've been too focused. I guess it's trying to defocus from what you're doing from time to time.
Yeah. So there's often when people are focused on doing a bout of testing, they'll be really focused on the task at hand. But sometimes if you're trying to debug a situation and it's really frustrating, you're trying to figure out, why the system is wrong or why it's performing the way it is. Sometimes taking that step back and taking a defocus technique where you try some other random variable or you try and step away or come back to it later. It's very similar, I guess, to the trying to sleep on a problem.
That's right, yeah.
The story goes that developers are working on solving problems, and it's only at 3 o'clock in the morning when they're trying to fall asleep that all of a sudden the solution comes into their mind, or it's just better the next day.
Yeah. That's I guess that's often true. When we focus too much, there's a Chinese old saying if you're too close in the problem, or if you are in the problem, it's harder for you to see the possible solutions. It's not literally meaning, but that's what it's trying to say. So from time to time, just trying to step out. Maybe when you step out, you're still in the problem, but at least a step away. When you keep trying to do that, maybe one day you say, oh, actually, yeah, here's the problem. That's maybe what I've been focusing doing, in the scope of what we're trying to deliver. That's actually not that important compared to this part. Maybe I should just drop this and then just start focusing on something I guess, really high risk instead of looking at something really trivial. Yeah.
Are you starting to experience a sunset there? Is this just seeing a bit of sun through the window?
Yeah.
Is it a pretty sunset? I've heard the sunsets in New Zealand can be quite wonderful.
Yeah, it's quite beautiful. It's got some nice cloud, but yeah. Some days it's really beautiful. I take my phone out and take a few beautiful pictures. Yeah.
Cool. I guess we've had Sarah online post a comment, basically saying that she feels grateful for being able to catch this live stream, simply because time zones can be hard.
Yeah.
Well, did we have any challenges with time zones with trying to set this meeting up?
Oh, for me, I think the timing you set up, that's pretty good. I like Sunday afternoon, before it's good timing. Well, at least I guess for me. For me,
Yeah, no, there's some interesting testing considerations when trying to work with systems that work on time zones. I think the system you might be working on would involve different time zones and different end of financial year.
Yep. That's my understanding. That's again just start this role recently, but by looking at, I think it's a global product, so there's lots of more, I guess, to consider, like compared to the product I worked on before. I guess my past experience, like I worked on, yeah, I haven't seen a scale like what I'm about, you know, working more on.
What's been the
Yeah, with
What's
yeah,
been the most interesting bug you've found before, or that your team has found?
what's the most interesting part? There's probably a lot. Just like I think maybe it's Sunday afternoon. I'm just trying to thinking like something like I can. It's come to my mind that with the with the email communication to the customers, so more of like an alert system. They sending out based on different rules, right? So what the problem was, because there's like so many emails to send out. Some of them just been um, while they send it, it's either been delayed or never like feel like the time of retries, then they just don't send out. Um, the bugs was like introduce this route robin technique with what was the solution? Yeah, but like, they introduced this new way of like sending emails. Like, it's cloud solution. There's like well, it's like a cool. So we don't need to test that because that's been tested by many other right. Like that's going to send out the emails. So all we need to do is integrate that into the messaging where we're trying to send out, and that will just take care to send out all the emails. The bugs we caught there was there's nothing wrong with this, but I guess the way how it's been configured, there was like not sending out the emails as the way like how we thought it's going to send out. So to create those massive performance issue on our end, it's like yeah, literally the application almost get clogged up. It's like it can't work because yeah, it's the way I guess it's configured. I guess the interesting part is yeah, the cloud solution is nothing wrong.
Yep.
What we doing here is also nothing wrong, but the way how we integrate it, it's not the way how how it's
Uh,
meant to work nicely.
yeah, and it's surprising how big like emails are such a big part of a lot of business process these days.
Yeah,
So
uh,
it can be a pretty big screw up when your emails aren't working.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, people expecting like it's arrive at a certain time and it didn't come, and they start wondering what's happening.
Yeah, well, it's like if you're trying to, you were talking about resetting your password before. If your emails
Mm.
aren't working and you're trying to reset your password, what can you
Yeah,
do? You're locked out of the
yeah, that's
system.
right. Yeah, yeah. Same as like nowadays like, because it's a multi-factor um, with the like a mobile phone, like with the text message or with the security app, like you have to confirm. What I found, like sometimes I forgot my phone. Oh no, I can't do anything. Like I have to go back to retrieve my phone from wherever I left.
Yeah, there was a stage because I have both Android and iOS for mobile testing, and I migrated from one device to the other, and I was using one of these devices to do all of the 2FA stuff that I needed for work. And, being able to get into the building and to be able to log on to my laptop and all of these things. So if I accidentally left one of these phones at either at home or somewhere,
Yeah,
really impacted my productivity for the day.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's only like when we really need it, then we find it's not on hand. When I realize, oh, that's how much I become so dependent on my phone or with that app. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
it was. I also have like my license on my phone now, and just yesterday, Thursday, Friday afternoon, so a few days ago, my phone stopped working with my SIM card. And
Oh,
so it's often like when the SIM card stops working, you just switch the phone off and on again, and that usually works. It didn't
yeah.
work in this situation. Uh,
Okay.
I ended up going to a supermarket, getting another spare SIM card, but I needed my ID and uh, card details to even start or to verify the SIM card.
Yeah.
And all of this was on my phone, which couldn't talk to the internet.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, it's in that loop. You know. Yeah.
It turned out that just changing the SIM cards to there was a way, I got around it somehow, but it was really frustrating. It took me like 45 minutes of taking SIM cards in and out of phones and just trying to get something to work. And it turns out the SIM card that broke on my iPhone was working on my Samsung device. So
Okay.
I've got no idea
Interesting.
what was happening.
Mm.
I need to change those SIM cards back to see if it now works, but as far as I know, it's still broken.
Interesting. Um, Compatibility suddenly breaks.
Yeah, and testing gets a little bit more complicated when you start involving things like hardware and, you
Yeah.
know, network systems.
Mm. Yeah.
Well, and are you mostly working from home these days?
I'm how to say probably like half half. Like
Okay.
yeah, I still do come into the office probably, yeah. In the last few weeks because I only started new, so I came into the office like almost every day. I think yeah, at the moment I'm still coming to the office at least 2 or 3 days. Like
Mm.
yeah, it's really funny like because I was thinking nowadays like people can work from anywhere. Like what motivated me to come into the office? So I kind of start thinking like, oh, I can work from home. Um, why do I come to the office? Something like I found interesting. Why do I come into on this day? Okay, yeah, because in the office there's a yoga class, and I really want to do some exercise like with yoga. So I do come in office that day. So that's one thing. The other day, why do I come into office the other days? Oh yeah, because I know most people coming on that day. I want to have that kind of a socializing, like
Mm.
face to face
Mm.
time with the team. I do come in the other day. Yeah. So it's really interesting to become like I guess more of a, on the motivation side, like oh, why do you want to come into the office still?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've just started a new role myself in the last week.
Yeah.
And it's work from home, 4 days a week and come into the office 1 day a week. But it
Yeah.
was really nice to come into the office and actually meet people. I'd been
Mm.
working with these people online for a week, and it's just nice to put faces to names.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And also I guess like just to me personally, I think that's a different dynamic when you talk to people face to face instead of online all the time.
Mm.
Online, I guess like sometimes I don't know whether the other person is busy or not. Normally, when we have like like a online call, normally we just like work on something and that's it. End of the discussion. Maybe have a little bit like a catch up at the beginning. Compared to the office, I think you can always say the person whether it's really focused or whether you know they can be interrupted. Yeah, that's yeah.
Mm.
That's the thing I like to come into the office because I like that I guess personal connection while you're in the office. At home, I felt like someday if I work the whole week at home, I probably felt a little bit lonely. Just see, haven't seen my other people for a long time.
Yeah. I think we're good for time now. I know we're a little late starting,
Yeah.
but now we've gone over for 5 minutes. I've really enjoyed the conversation today. Uh,
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Sam.
do you have any farewell notes or remarks for anyone who might be watching this on YouTube or Twitch?
Well, just thank you for their time. Like either watching live or for the record. I guess hopefully they can get out of something like a
Oh no, I think we just lost audio. We've completely, yeah, we've lost audio.
Okay.
Oh no, there we go. We got some audio back.
Okay.
What were your pearls of wisdom? I missed them.
How about now? Is the audio back? Or still?
It's a little bit back. I think it's just gone through a different speaker.
Okay.
But yeah, what were you saying before I lost my audio?
Well, I was more just saying like, hopefully people can get out of something useful from our conversation. Yeah, I know we kind of talk about a lot for other stuff rather than the quality coaching, but hopefully they can, get something out of that. And I really thank you for the opportunity to have this session with you. And I look forward to maybe future sessions we can have some live testing and we can look at the
Yeah.
apps together.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry we didn't get into much live testing today. It was more of a talk about quality coaching. But yeah, we can always do a bit more live testing at some point on a particular product or feature.
Yep, that sounds good.
And thank you for everyone who's joined the live stream and the video.